How do you thrive in times of crisis and change when other people are losing, failing? How do you succeed in the midst of crisis? I want you to write this down. This is the best thing to do, is to describe 2009. And I thought there's no more effective description of 2009 than the word change. It's the year of change. And that change has already begun. For many of you in this room, you are entering 2009 very different from the way you left or entered 2008. Some of you are entering this new year without security, without work, without money, without confidence that you will make it because of some changes. This year is 2009, a year of change. Change is an equalizer. What do I mean by that? Change is every human's experience. So whenever you're going through changes, which I know all of us are, sometimes you think you're the only one experiencing this. And I am here to tell you that is not true. Change makes every human equal because we all are victims of change. The word crisis has been a very common word thrown around, and I want to ease that a little bit. Write this down. All change is a crisis. All change is a crisis. Even a good change like getting married. The next morning you wake up, you wonder, what did I do? And that may seem like a wonderful experience on the wedding day, but the next day there's a change. There's someone in your bed. That's a crisis. You never slept with anyone that you're about to stay with for the rest of your life. That's a crisis. Standing on a scale frightens some people. You used to weigh 198. Whoosh, 215. There's a crisis in the house. See, all change is crisis. But write this down. Crisis is a result of change. So they are interrelated. Whenever there's a crisis, something changed. And whenever something changes, there's a crisis. Here's the third point. Some crises are self-imposed. You eat and eat and eat and eat, and then you wonder, why can't my clothing fit? That's a self-imposed crisis. You sleep with someone that you are not married to, and you contract a disease. That's a crisis, but it's self-imposed. Write this down, please. All external crisis is a result of changes over which you have no control. This is the kind of crisis we want to talk about. Because we're going into this new year, 2009, in a world where everything is changing and nobody can control it. The most intelligent among Earth's leaders don't know what to do. None of the laws of economics are working. None of the laws of politics are working. It seems as if something has blown on the planet Earth and have shaken every institution that was so secure that no one knows exactly why things are not working. And therefore, that is a crisis. It's an external crisis. The greatest result of crisis is change. And that's why we are still seeing people being impacted. Companies are falling apart, downsizing, right-sizing, some of them even collapsing completely. That affects people's earning power, which affects their children and affects what they can buy. And this is the result of change. Now, let me just say this, write this very important point down. Mastering the change of crisis is determined by your ability to manage and benefit from change. That's the key. If you can master change or use it for your benefit, you will survive. During this period of crisis, will produce some of the most powerful millionaires in the world. It'll also produce some of the poorest people you've ever seen. You can decide which one you will be by your capacity to manage the changes in your environment. I suggest to you then a reality check. We say that oil prices, we can't control them. Everybody's excited that gasoline has gone down a little bit, but we're not sure exactly what that means. That can go up in the morning. Matter of fact, oil went up yesterday. So nothing is stable. Then we got natural disasters that displace people. There are people in our islands in the south who are still without homes, and some in Turks and Caicos Islands without homes, and some in Louisiana still trying to get their lives back together. There's a lot of change that people are still adjusting to, and they have to go through a new year with that experience. We also get stock markets falling apart. People not feeling comfortable in the stock market anymore, so they're withholding their money, making it cash, and then you got instant loss of wealth. People who used to be wealthy are suddenly poor. That's a massive change. And then we've got major banks collapsing, and people are being insecure about leaving their money in banks, or the banks themselves don't want to lend because they're not sure of the security that they have. There's a lot of concerns here in that component. One Time magazine article, I thought it was interesting. It simply said, how this changes everything. That's the way it described the world. Everything is changing. I would say to you then that the result of this turmoil in our environment is consumer confidence. We all know that means that people are not spending. The Americans have recorded that they had between 5 to 8% less in their spending at Christmas time in America, which converts into billions of dollars of business that did not realize. They are suspecting that by the end of January, some of the major stores in America will collapse. And the folks who used to work in those stores, who used to come here for vacation, may not be able to come back next year to be with us, and so our hotels may have a little stress. Also, they say that there's a business downturn where people are feeling they have to not get too much inventory anymore because they're not sure they can get rid of what they could. Even China is falling into a little recession now because they got an overstock of inventory, and the buyers ain't buying because the buyers of the buyers ain't buying. No one is safe. Of course, we got the layoffs and the unemployment. We got people thinking about themselves and trying to make sure that they are preserved. Self-preservation. We've got family under stress, which causes domestic problems, people beating each other because of the stress, and children running into difficulties. This is a world of change, and of course people cut back on charitable giving. This is when the Red Cross complained this week that they don't have enough to feed the people or to clothe people who are coming to them. Major charities are having problems. Change is affecting everybody. And so we can't service the people the way we'd like to. Why am I painting this picture? Please, here's the answer. There's nothing as permanent as change. Tell your neighbor that right now. Say it again until they understood what you just said. There's nothing as permanent as change. In other words, the only thing that is permanent in the world is change. In essence, change is constant. It doesn't start and it never stops. It just keeps moving. That leads to my point number 3. Everything changes. That has been one of my most encouraging understandings in my life. Change is inevitable. When I settled this in my own life, my life became easier to live. Can I put it another way? Change is the principle of life. If something is alive, it will experience change. What I want to do in this session is to take the pressure of you about crisis and understand that crisis is life. Everything that you go through is a manifestation of some type of change, and it's a part of life. This therefore leads me to another point. What's the purpose for change? In the book of Ecclesiastes chapter 3, there's a statement made by King Solomon, one of my favorite ones. He says, to everything there is what? A season, and to every purpose there's a time. In other words, to everything there's only a season. How many things have a season? Everything. Everything. That means your length of hair only has a season. Your weight has a season. Your 26, 22, 36 shape got a season. What is good about this verse is it's supposed to take the pressure off you. To everything there's a season, and to every purpose there's what? A time. There's a time for everything. It's a time to be working where you're working. But you see, in your mind, this is a lifetime job. God said, no, you didn't read my words. I didn't tell you how long the season is at this place, he says. And when the time comes to leave, they call it firing. God calls it moving on. It depends on how you understand life. Put it another way, everything is seasonal. Tell your neighbor that right now, loud. Everything is seasonal. Say it again. Everything is seasonal. Please settle that right now. Settle it. If you broke, thank God, that's a season. Someone said, well, you ain't got nothing. Child, it's only a season. Give God a hand for that. That's encouraging, eh? You know? Stop looking at life from just one side. As a matter of fact, here's some things that is covered about seasons that were helpful for me. Number one, seasons are natural. Number two, seasons cannot be stopped. Number three, seasons cannot be resisted. Number four, seasons cannot be respected of persons. Number five, seasons come without your permission. Number six, seasons bring change you cannot control. And number seven, seasons are the only thing guaranteed. Now that should help you relax a little bit about 2009. 2009 cannot have anything for you can't handle, because everything only comes temporarily. I want you to sit up and hold your head up and face life with a smile. If you ain't got no guarantee about 2009 yet, this one I'm giving you. Whatever you're going through will change. That's the guarantee. And so the good news is this: God promises changes. You know, here's one I thought was interesting. Genesis 8:22 says, as long as the earth endures, God says, there'll be seed time and harvest, cold and heat, summer and winter, day and night will never cease. Has the earth ceased? Good. Then some of you are in winter right now in your life. But then some of you are in summer. But then some of you are in summer. And when you are in summer, you look down on those who are in winter, forgetting that your winter is coming. There's a guarantee. So you got plenty now, you better be nice to those who got a little, because when your little time comes, you're going to need them who got plenty. This is why seasons keep us equal. There are people in this room who never thought they'd be doing what they're doing. It never crossed their mind they'd have to go and borrow from their friends or their mother. I heard a guy say to me last week, this guy is a multi-millionaire. I told the story the other day. This guy says, look, I lost $52 million in 50 minutes on the stock market. I had to give up my multi-million-dollar condominium and go back and move in with my mother. Some of you may have to do that. I mean, don't panic. That's only temporary. Just tell mom, we're going to be here for a little while. Mom going to start praying in tongues.